like other games have this equivalent, I think, but just something that you kind of you gain over time from just every time you win a round or something like that. I was kind of wanting to have two sort of scores, maybe. One would just be like you gain stuff as you play multiplayer games or as you play online or as you win games or something. Like you gain XP or you gain something, which maybe will unlock more characters you can buy with the tickets that you've won or something like that. So maybe this would be that, and then of course there would be another one which would maybe be like trophies, like something where it's more purely competitive. Like we kind of have trophies right now. Um, Even though it's not necessarily like trophies right now is not necessarily competitive. It's more just like how you win more tournaments, you get more trophies. So it's like that's almost just a measure of how just how much you've played. So this would almost be more like that. But then maybe we'd have trophies be more just like your multiplayer rating or something, where it's just like the percentage you've won or something where it's more like this is like your measure of how good you are. And this is mainly the measure of like how much you've played and how much you've won and how much you've unlocked and stuff. So again, not 100% set in stone. This will probably once the squad stuff starts coming online, I'll probably be experimenting with this a little bit and I'll ask for feedback. But my thought is having one thing where it's like you kind of grind. I want to make it like in-game grinding. I don't want, as I mentioned before, I don't want stuff to be like pay to win or pay to unlock. I'd rather you know there'll have to be a little of like paying to avoid annoying waits and stuff like that, but I still want it to be like when you unlock something, it's from tickets that you've earned by winning a game or playing a game or something. But in general, there'll need to be or there should be something where it's like you kind of grind to earn tickets to unlock stuff, and so that'll be maybe related to this in some way. I hope that kind of makes sense. Make skin variations unlockable by multiplayer winnings. Yeah, I think that would be great. Again, like multiplayer winnings could feed into like your level for that season or whatever, and then that could feed into what stuff you can unlock. Um, this kind of goes into the idea of different games do this in different ways with like battle passes and stuff like that. Like the more you play throughout a season, you unlock the ability to get cooler stuff or whatever. So just thinking about different ideas there. Um, and again, I need to write this all down in a document, but my general idea is that there'll be kind of two forms of the game. One is like a prepaid form, like if you're playing the game on a subscription service, or maybe on some platform I'll just make the game like a just a paid game where it's like pay 20 or $30. Or I don't know what the total cost of the game would be, like if you're getting it on Switch or something. In that case, like you would never have a wait. You'd never have to wait to unlock a chest or anything like that. Like none of that would be there. Um, but then there'd be a second version of the game where it's like the free to play version, where it's a little bit more like pay as you go, kind of standard free to play stuff. And those two versions, I would like them to coexist. I don't want the free to play version to have advantages over like the paid version. I don't want there to be like some skin where you can only unlock it by paying a bajillion dollars. Like in both versions of the game, like you should be able to get the same skins by spending the same amount of time, you know, playing multiplayer or whatever. It's just in the free version, you might have to like spend a few like paid coins or whatever to unlock your chests that you get for winning matches or something, just to like skip those waits or something. Kind of standard free to play stuff. But my rule for myself is that like that shouldn't give you an advantage over like the paid version of the game, like it I hope that's making sense, but I want the free to play version just to be like essentially the paid version in a like pay as you go sort of way, just kind of with little minor annoyances that you can kind of pay to get past. Um, but yeah, I'll have to think about that. Like in general, I think that would be great. Just being able to unlock characters by winning enough games in that season or something like that. Just I'd love to get more stuff like that where it's like things that you can kind of show off that shows like, oh hey, I won so many games this season, or hey, I my win loss record was higher than this, so I have this cool little like tag thing or this cool skin that is limited to only those people or something. So like I said, I really want to think about like the meta game and just making it fun to kind of achieve things and show things off and stuff like that. Without being like douchey. Oh yeah, there is a texture with the speed icon, and interestingly, in the early versions of the game, that was a power up. So, because that's kind of a thing, and originally I started the game started a long time ago as kind of a weird spin off, like a Bomberman clone, and then it kind of went off in its weird physicsy way, became something different. But in Bomberman, there's always a speed power up. You collect speed power ups, and your character moves faster. Um, at some point, I think when I added running, then I took the speed power up out, um, because and also because I think it kind of made it ridiculous. Like it made it just. I mean, it's already easy enough to fall off maps. Like there's a lot of maps that are just hard to navigate. But if you get that with the speed power up, it became like just ridiculous, like impossible to move around without killing yourself. So it didn't seem to be a good idea at the time. Maybe it can like make an appearance again at some point, or maybe it just gives you like a little bit of extra speed. Or I still wonder if it would be fun to experiment with ideas like limited run or something like that, or you could get a speed power up that would then give you unlimited run or something. So you know, who knows? But yeah, that's where the speed power up came from. So yeah, like gold material or something. Like yeah, it'd be fun to yeah, just something some cool variations that people know you did something awesome because you have them. Which also means I need to. I mean, I'll have to be careful about this just so just to make sure people can't like mod the game and give themselves all that stuff without having actually accomplished that. Just because that cheapens it for everyone. But I think that should be pretty doable, at least for online stuff, for cloud hosted stuff. Like obviously, it's pretty hard. As I mentioned, it's pretty hard for me to stop people from doing what they want on their own machines, on their own devices, by just hacking the Python or whatever, or hacking the C++ at this point. So I can't really, on your own device, it's a free for all, but I can kind of keep it, keep everything fair on, at least cloud server games or whatever. So someone can't, hack a Python script and then come in with like the number one player of all time, like label over their head or something. Randomize all the textures for April Fools. That sounds fun, but I feel like that would just come across as a bug or something or break the game. I I hate April Fools personally. Like it I don't hate it, but it's like I love reading like nerdy internet stuff, and like April Fools is just everywhere. It's just like stupid April Fools stuff. It's like it's just the day that I can't read my nerdy internet stuff. So I'm like a grumpy old man. Dang it, April Fools! Add other achievements to the game. Yeah, this would be great. That's another thing on my infinite to do list. Like I would love for people to be able to kind of make their own either mini games or add achievements as just part of a particular game or mini game or play mode or something like that. Um, we just need to like I just need to somehow make it official. I mean, you can like hack the system and make your own achievements right now. It's not like a really official thing, and it does. I'm sure you've all noticed like some people's online profiles where it says like achievements unlocked like 457. It's like the V1 master server just at like you can tell it how many achievements the local character has unlocked, and it's like okay. Um, so I need to try to fix that so that there's some sense of like these are official achievements, but then these are also like game specific ones, or just something where like I said, I think that'd be great to do. Um, Also, that I'd love to tie that into the economy for the 1.9 stuff. Like I said, I want to have, this is not totally set in stone, but I want like the main currency in the game to be tickets for both like the free version and the paid version. And tickets are only unlockable on, like by playing the game. You won't be able to buy them in for the squads mode. Um, so then, I'd love tickets to just be kind of like this, sort of like not an unregulated economy, but it'd be great if it's possible for people to like write mini games and like award tickets if you unlock an achievement in the game or something like that. If there's a way to do that like fairly without people like exploiting it, like writing themselves a mini game where it just gives you infinite tickets for pressing jump or something like that. But maybe there's like some smart way where, like a popular mini game could have like tickets allocated to it or something where it's like, okay, you're allowed to be awarding so many tickets to players or something like that, where like people could then come up with their own, fun things where you get rewards for them or something. So yeah, customize build characters. Yeah, I this has come up a bit. I'm kind of torn on the topic of letting people customize their characters too much because it's like I know people have written mods that let you mix and match different pieces from different characters and whatnot, and that's cool, and I want to support people doing whatever they want. But I think the downside is that it kind of makes everything muddy. It's like suddenly you have a character and you're like, what is that? Like normally when you're playing the game, like the characters try to be kind of iconic. It's like, oh, there goes the pirate. Oh, there goes the skeleton. There goes whatever. Like you can kind of pick them out at a glance. But at some point, if you allow too much customization, then it's like everything starts to be too crazy, and it kind of hurts readability. I'm gonna totally like date myself here, like age myself, whatever it's called. But I was around for uh, before Facebook. There was what MySpace, way back in the day, and everyone's MySpace page they just allowed people to customize the HTML directly, and so everybody's MySpace page. I'm curious if like people still know about this or if it's still like a stereotype, but like everyone's MySpace page was just completely disgusting. It was just like these ugly like 90s looking web backgrounds, and like they'd all play music, and it would just be like you know like not very pretty stuff. But it's like people liked doing that. They like being able to customize their stuff. But it's like this trade off of like, do you want to let people customize enough where they can make everything ugly? So I think it can be good too to kind of force a little bit of cleanliness too. Of course, people should be able to do whatever they want. It's just like maybe not on public games or something like that. Something to think about. But it could be, I mean, maybe some character customization could be cool. Like, maybe certain characters, like, I don't know if there would be completely different versions of skins, like maybe, like we're saying, like a medieval spaz or something, or, we could do something more specific, like switch spaz's helmet or something like that. I'm not sure which would be better, like making a whole new spaz or making like a slightly customizable spaz. Bald spaz, yeah. Captain Picard spaz, yeah. But yeah, it's hard to know because it's like each of those could work as like a themed like variant of the character, like a bald spaz. You can kind of like change his armor to look a little bit different in that case or something too. Like I don't know, give it a little flavor. Like, but like, is that better or just like letting you swap his head between several different spaz heads? Who knows? Oh my gosh, I heard a voice. I totally, when I first was doing this a few weeks ago, I thought this was broken or something because like no one was saying anything. I was like, it's only me. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of tickets out there that, yeah, or a lot of codes out there that give you like a ton of tickets temporarily, but that's just, it's basically setting them on your local device, but not on the server. So the server still knows how many tickets you really have, but your device is kind of telling you otherwise. But at some point, the server resets your device, or, it should get sorted out. All right, waiting for questions. So back to my debugging. Platform Android SEC. Changed. Okay, minus 16, 17. Oh, Man Crack, or were the main cast characters free in the first years? Yeah, I think they were free. Um, yeah, at some point, I feel kind of bad about this, but yeah, over the years, I wound up locking down parts behind like Pro or different things like that, or just making them unlockable. And largely that was just to pay bills. Like when I first launched the game, like I think I had just a few unlockable things in there, and like very few people were buying those. So I was like, oh geez, there's um, so yeah, at certain points I had to like tighten things down or put things behind a paywall or whatever. Like, oh, you need Pro to customize playlists or whatever, which I don't like. I feel like that hurts the game and hurts it makes people less free to experiment and stuff. But it's also some of it did have a measurable effect on making a bit more money and letting me pay the bills so I can keep working on the game. I mean, my big hope is to like lean hard into all this like um, aesthetic stuff, like new different versions of characters and things like that, and some fun stuff that people can grind on. And then I'm hoping that I can get rid of some of the other monetization, like locking down features, because I hate locking down features. So my hope is that if I can get to the point where the game makes enough money just from aesthetic stuff, different character skins and unlockables and whatever, then yeah. Like one thing I know I've mentioned is I hate the continues that are in there right now. Like they make a bit of money, like people trying to get through the single player campaign or co-op, being able to spend tickets to continue. It's like it makes some money, so I got to leave it in there for now. But as soon as I can afford to, I want to rip that out and just have it be purely skill based. I don't like pay to win type stuff. And yes, Mel had a mouth at some point, like the original texture for him. But since like my style for all the characters is like just eyes and no mouth, it's just kind of a goofy style. Like I at some point I made him line up with everything else. Oh, that's an interesting point on promo stuff. So I probably maybe for the 1.9. Yeah, I feel like I put the promo stuff in there, be like, oh, that'll get more people to buy characters or something when they see a promo. But I feel like maybe it has the opposite effect of like it gets people used to like only buying characters when there's a promo. So maybe it would be better for 1.9 for the squads economy to just not have promos, or at least to make them very rare or something like that. Oh no, I'm sorry. But I mean, it could be like reasonable prices across the board, and just that way you feel more free to like buy stuff whenever, and you're not like, oh, I'd like to buy something, but I have to wait a week. It helps me pay bills. But I'll have to figure out like it'll be interesting to see because the 1.9 stuff. I mean, that's still a ways out. I need to focus on 1.8 for now, but there'll be some decent like economy changes to where like I said, I don't want to. I prefer tickets just be something that is only earned by playing games and can't be bought anymore. There'll be a different currency like tokens or coins or something. That'll be like the free to play currency for avoiding waits. There'll be something specific for that stuff that won't exist at all in like the paid version or the non free to play version. But anyway, it'll be interesting to like kind of figure out how to like deal with the old economy versus the new economy. Like I don't know if there might be a completely different set of like tickets and tokens you have when you're playing like the squads mode. Like maybe they'll be different colored or something, or maybe I'll somehow merge them, or I don't know. That'll be interesting because I don't want to just like obviously don't want to throw away tickets and stuff that people have earned in the existing economy. But if the economy will be kind of different, like yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Add a feature to share tickets with friends. Maybe in some limited way, but unfortunately that gets into like hairy legal issues sometimes. Like if games allow you to like share currency, that basically means that people can then start like selling characters and like selling stuff in the game themselves, and or selling tickets, and then that starts to you start to get in trouble with like the platform owners like Apple and things like that. Like you're not supposed to, if you're selling something in the game, you're not supposed to have other ways to buy that or acquire that in other ways. And I don't know. So it can open up like weird hairy situations where it's like suddenly then you have to deal with like commerce laws or gambling laws or things like that because you're allowing people to buy and sell in-game stuff or whatever. So, I mean, I guess maybe some of that exists already. 'Cause technically, you could like sell your account. Um, but yeah, I imagine like being able to just gift tickets to friends or whatever. That would have to be either very limited or maybe just not there at all. I'm not sure. Uh, oh yeah, and stuff. Yeah, like how do you stop people from creating 100 accounts to get all these tickets? And I've seen people are like so amazingly good at harvesting tickets, like in any way possible. With like all the share this code with your friends to get tickets. Like people like do this 5 times and then merge your account and then spin around and then do this again and like that's shown me that I just need to be very careful for with the economy. Just because I need to make money from it or whatever. So it's like you just need to be very careful about holes and little things that people can figure out and exploit. Global chat. This has come up a few times. A lot of yeah. I think there was a wasn't there there was a chat on Discord a few weeks ago or a week ago or something. And yeah, a lot of games are saying global chat is not a good idea just because you know it introduces a lot of like moderation responsibilities and things and like how do you deal with like toxic people in global chat and stuff like that. And so my preference would be to lean on Discord and things like that as much as possible for kind of overall community building. Um, and then chat in game would be more like when you've met up with your friends or then you can chat amongst them or if you join a public server maybe there'd be the server chat still stuff like that. But yeah, it's somewhere where I just prefer not to spend too much of my time dealing with like moderation features and things like that. So I'd it we can talk about it more, but I feel like global chat wouldn't maybe be the best idea. Um, it'll be interesting too, like for the new squads, the 1.9 squad stuff. My plan is by default, it'll be centered around the idea of inviting people to your squad and then getting matched against other squads or whatever. That's kind of like the standard kind of play mode for multiplayer games a lot of times these days. And just like limiting interaction to the other team to like emotes or something where it's like you can't by default you can't have toxic behavior. You can't have someone hitting you with curse words or whatever that you've never met. And so that would by default hopefully keep things clean. Um, but then some people have mentioned, or I read an article recently saying that like some people say that that's a bad thing. Like you should be able to kind of meet other people and interact with other people that you just meet in random games. So I don't know. Maybe there's a happy medium ground or something. Like maybe you can chat, like decide to chat with someone, or like turn that on. Like maybe it's off by default, like emotes only or something. But maybe you could allow chat if you wanted. I'm just trying to think of something where I do get a decent amount of emails and stuff saying, or people talking about like toxic players who are in some server and won't stop cursing or whatever. I'm just like I'd prefer to not have to deal with that. So whatever I can put in place to make that not an issue by default, like I will probably do that. But I also don't want to like completely cut people off from meeting new people and interacting. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the right way to balance it is. So any ideas you all have, like if there's games that do that well or ideas you have, like please share. Yeah, Trent. Oh no. I really hope that doesn't work. Um, yeah, I need to. I'm surprised my V1 master server hasn't malfunctioned with. I'm sure people are sending all sorts of or sending transactions to the server with all sorts of crazy data. Um, I mean, it shouldn't hopefully be possible to break it too badly, but I'm sure I could get some like weird error logs, just like, what the heck is this transaction that came through? Thankfully, the V2 master server is better with authentication and stuff like that, and it shouldn't be. Hopefully, it won't allow any unauthorized commands through. Oh, that is actually no, that isn't actually official code, right, on BandPress. I don't think I ever wired that up, but I think it was something like, if I'm remembering this right, it's something like my original plan was like if you're a server admin or something, you'd be able to just like, in some case, yeah, there was some case where you'd be able to just like ban a player completely or something. If that's what I think that is. But it never got wired up, so I don't think it's functional. If you want to try it, let me know what happens. Hopefully it's not functional. But yeah, I don't plan on. My plan for any V1 stuff, like add transaction, all that, like I don't plan on touching any of that code anymore. I just wanted to like keep working for long enough to move everything to V2 stuff, which doesn't have all the transaction system and things like that. That's a whole like nerdy thing I could go into, like that whole transaction system. But I won't bore you guys with details of that. Check if the player is a server admin. I don't think there is. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to do that. The whole like admin thing just got added somewhat recently for hosting servers. You can specify an admin. I'm trying to remember what. Yeah, it does certain things like you can't kick that player or whatever, but I don't think it gets exposed in any way to the other players. So I don't think there's any way that you can currently know who's an admin. Could add that feature, but my thought is, I'll add it in the V2 era, like because that'll be kind of handling all that stuff in a different way. Within the server itself. Oh, like, I would have to check. That's a good question. I haven't actually looked at that code in a while. You could dig into it. I mean, all that stuff should be open sourced, I think. If you dig into like the server wrapper and then, or I guess there's a certain like Python file where it actually like loads the server settings, and so admin is probably in there. So I think it's source BA data. What am I looking for? Python BA. I think it's like server mode. Yeah. So currently, when you run the server, it calls some stuff in here, basically like flipping the game into server mode. And somewhere in here is where it like loads the config, or it gets past the config or whatever. So if you can find where it handles that, like the admin list, just see like where it plugs that into, and then you could probably, wherever it's plugging that into, you can access that somehow, either via Python or maybe you maybe have to like add a Python call if need be. Let's just look. Admin. Oh yeah, okay, so here, BA set admins. So here is where it takes the list of admins out of the config and it calls this function, whatever this function does. So let's see what this function does. Hopefully that's public. So it's defined on the C layer somewhere. So if I do set, I'll just do the search for set admins. Okay, so we see it's in servernode.py, which is where we just were. It's in the dummy ba.py. Okay, and here it is. So here, if we go to Python methods networking.cc, this is the C++ file where it defines the functions, the Python functions that are defined in C, but accessible from Python. So